Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. We're going to talk about the housing market. And we're going to talk about what an awesome opportunity this is right now, but it's being patient. It's waiting because you are about to see the crazy exit the housing market starting this fall, and you are going to start to see deals, but you can't pounce just yet. This is what I talk about in the real estate course, crash course. If you haven't checked it out and you would like to, I'm going to throw a 70% off coupon before it goes up in price because I'm going to be putting some more lessons. I think there's 28 lessons right now on there. We're going to keep putting lessons on, and once you're in, and that price, whatever you're locked in at, stays at that. But it keeps getting bigger, and we're going to raise the price. Check this out. This is out of Yahoo Finance. You need to make a whopping $148,000 per year to just afford a $500,000 house, as mortgage rates surge to highest level since November. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see double-digit mortgage rates. I know it sounds crazy. You're going to see it, and I would not be shocked if it happens before January 1st. This is crazy, and yes, there is still some buying going out there. However, if you look back in the past, the amount of homes selling in the nation are so low, it's insane. So it is literally the dumbest of dumb money that is rolling into this. When people are buying their first house right now because they're afraid, they're buying in fear, they're racing in. And I've talked to real estate agents that meet these type of people, and they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy. Matter of fact, just talked to a real estate agent the other day that talked to a doctor that makes over $300,000 a year, and he's like, I can't afford a house. And he's like, well, you make more money than me. What are you talking about? And it's because he's looking at a $1.5, $1.6 million house. And of course he can't afford it, right? After his taxes are taken out and all this stuff, you look at it and he goes, I gotta buy now. And my buddy goes, how stupid is that? But these doctors got to drive around in a Porsche that they can't afford and a multi-million-dollar home that they can't afford, but it's because they want to show off because they think that's acceptable. That's what they're supposed to do. When in all reality, that doctor makes plenty of money to go buy a $800,000 house or a $900,000 house, right? But no, they're getting into more than they can chew. Well, that happens with doctors and lawyers. It also happens with the middle class and those few people out there that are just freaked out and in fear because they don't have the knowledge. That's what separates them. And that's why I teach that in the real estate side hustle, not the side hustle course, the real estate crash course on how to prepare and then how to see the signs of the times and then when to act, when to jump in and when to jump out, because there's always a time to do that. And then you maximize not only cash flows, but you maximize the profit you make with flipping homes or with buying, holding longer term rental properties. So check this out. It says, although there have been a steady flow of purchase demand around rates in the low to mid 6 range, and that's a farce right there. We're talking about steady flow. It's very low flow. It says that demand is likely to weaken as rates approach 7%, says Freddie Mac chief economist Sam Kapner. Not everyone can afford to buy as rates rise. It says rich Americans have, I'm going to get it past this. They put a bunch of ads in there. Say you're buying a $500,000 home, assuming you have a 10% down payment of $50,000 and lock in a 30-year fixed mortgage rate at 6.79%, right? That means you'd have to actually have pretty good credit right now to do that. Your monthly payment would add up to $3,700. Now, $500,000 is pretty much the median home price across the country right now. I mean, home prices have exploded, right? It's for you could get, townhomes and condominiums and stuff for less, but if you wanted a normal 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot home to raise a family in, you're going to be paying $500,000 pretty much anywhere in the country now, by and large, like 80% of the country. Okay, so this affects everybody across the board. Well, that means your payment's $3,700. Considering that most lenders want you to keep your housing expenses at or under 30% of your gross income, you'd need to earn at least $148,000 a year to afford that $500,000 home. It says here the average 30-year fixed rate jumped to 6.79% this week, according to the latest data from Freddie Mac, compared to last week's average of 6.5%. And a year ago, this time, the rate was averaging 5.09%. Now remember, the Federal Reserve, everyone's hoping that they stop raising rates, but they can't. There is still economic data proving that they have not officially broken the backbone of the American consumer. They do not have a high enough unemployment rate to be able to do this. And again, even when the day comes that they stop raising rates, they're not going to drop them right away. Unless there's some catastrophic collapse in the bond market and the stock market, they're not going to see this happen. As a matter of fact, if the bond market crashes, interest rates are more than likely to go up. Why? Because people are going to demand a higher rate of return if they loan money to corporations or the government, okay? So that's the thing that people need to understand. It's a big deal. So the Fed, even when the day comes that they stop raising rates, they're going to plateau and just let it just run straight across at that rate. And so if they feel the need to stop raising rates, that means there's significant pain in the economy, and then they're going to keep that, and I call it maximum interest rate pain, just maximum pain, until everything collapses, and they go, oh, we're here now to save you, because they want to be reactionary, not proactive. They don't want to be blamed for it, even though they are to blame for it, okay? That's what people need to realize. And you need to understand all of these indicators to be able to paint the perfect picture for the real estate market, for the rental market, and know when to dive in. If you dive in at the wrong time, you're going to be hurting. I did this. I bought at as right before interest rates were coming down, and I enjoyed massive not only cash flow increases, but also the appreciation of our properties. And then I started to sell as they started to raise rates. When they peaked at rates, I was liquidating real estate as fast as I could. And I barely got out with my teeth intact, literally in 2006 when everything started coming apart, right? And then the next upswing started in 2012. So you see there's massive time gaps there. It says with rates closer to 7%, the 7% benchmark, nearly 5.5 million households continue to be priced out of the market compared to a year ago, says Nadia Evangelou, senior economist at the National Association of Realtors. Although there are fewer buyers, more than 1/3 of properties are sold above their list price due to limited inventory, especially of homes that first-time buyers can afford to buy. Now, 15-year mortgage rates, think about this. The average 15-year home loan also climbed to 5.9% from 5.9% to 6.18%. So even there, you're not getting really a reprieve. Why? Because to pay a 15-year mortgage, you're paying a lot more principal, right? As opposed to a 30-year. It's compounded. Sure, you're saving on your interest rate, but your payment is much higher. So to even think that a 30-year, how many people down here below would pick a 15-year right now? At these rates, you couldn't afford it. The average person can't afford it. If it takes $148,000 per year right now to buy a $500,000 house, think about how much it would take that you'd probably need to make around $200,000 a year to be able to afford a 15-year mortgage. So that is more people that are just keeping that 30-year debt slavery. Well, what is all of this going to turn into? And this is the most important part of this video. This is going to turn people into the 40-year. You're going to be paying much higher than 7%, but you're going to be saving $250, $300 a month because it's amortized over another 10 years. But the problem is now you're paying for that house an entire time over. So instead of paying for twice or 2.5 times, you're now paying for that house 3.5 times over at the life of the loan. That is so much wealth that has been destroyed forever. Think about it that way. Now, that is less money that's going to your children or your children's children, your lineage, less money that you have to enjoy for retirement. That is absolutely insane. Think about that. An extra $500,000 or $600,000 that you have to pay because you simply got into fear and you dove in with the dumb money just because the payment was $300 less and you could afford it. Think about it that way. This is very important. Very few people own their home cash, and that's where you want to be because that is true power. Guys, I hope you got something out of this. If you want to see the real estate crash course, the 28 lessons, I'm adding more. I'm going to be upping the price when that happens. The 70% off discount code, it's $295, I believe, with the discount code, or $299. It's yours, and once you're in, and as I add more lessons, it's just going to become more and more valuable for you. All right, guys, that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.